Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys the long overdue video on every Flying Thunder God jutsu ever created. And like I talked about in the Flying Thunder God Explained video, which you guys should be able to see by the time you're seeing this video, one of the things I said was that even though this is hands down one of the most famous jutsu in the Naruto franchise, I still find that a lot of fans aren't aware that there are multiple versions of the jutsu outside of the basic jutsu that you see Minato use, as well as the more advanced stage 2 jutsu that Minato uses for Flying Thunder God. So jumping right in, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Flying Thunder God jutsu that I myself find to be my most favorite, which is the Flying Raijin Guiding Thunder. So when it comes to this jutsu, it's a space-time barrier. So essentially what this jutsu does is that it makes use of the Flying Thunder God to erect a massive barrier that is gonna allow the user to essentially teleport anything that comes inside of that barrier space. Now, when this also happens, it also allows the user to then teleport the object to another location that has already been marked by the Flying Raijin. So given the fact that you have ninja like Minato and Tobirama who leave Flying Thunder God markers all over the place, you could fire, say, a Biju bomb at them and they can just simply teleport it to a marker that they have in a faraway land, far away from any type of populace. That's why when Minato showed up and he teleported away the Ten Tails Biju bomb, that's why it was outside the realm of where there are actual people at. Now, the other thing on this is that this jutsu does require a lot of chakra to be able to pull off, because you're essentially containing something as massive as a Biju Dama inside of it, and then you're teleporting it to another location. And the reason why that in itself is so huge is just the basic Flying Thunder God, which we know based on the Naruto manga requires at least 3 people of Jonin level caliber chakra levels to be able to perform even the basic jutsu. So to pull off something like this, you've got to have massive chakra reserves. Moving on to what a lot of people are aware of and what I feel is probably the second most famous version of the Flying Thunder God is going to be the Flying Thunder God level 2. So for this one, it's basically a jutsu that Minato himself developed on top of the Flying Thunder God. Think of this like the Flying Thunder God on steroids. So Minato, when he first gets attacked by an enemy, he throws the Flying Thunder God kunai at his enemy, and once the kunai has reached a specific point around the enemy, he then teleports directly to the kunai, grabs the kunai, and attacks them in their blind spot. The speed at which this jutsu operates is so fast that not even a Sharingan is able to actually keep up with the speed movements that Minato's able to do. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, Minato isn't the only person who's able to use this jutsu. While it's never directly named, we do know from Naruto chapter 661 that Tobirama Senju was able to use a similar version of this jutsu. It wasn't the exact same jutsu, but the principles and the mechanics are pretty similar. It's safe to say that just like everything else, that Minato is able to surpass Tobirama when it comes to his jutsu. Now, you also have this next one, which is a really silly name. However, given the fact that it's coming from the 4th Hokage, it's one of those jutsu that even though it has a super long and super silly name, it's one of those things where you know that it's deadly. Minato was given a do not engage order for a reason. So this jutsu is called the Rasen Flash Super Circle Dance House Stage 3. Now, that might sound like a bit of a mouthful for you. If you had any trouble with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is a really overpowered jutsu when you really look at it. So when it comes to this jutsu right here, Minato is using a combination of shadow clones as well as throwing kunai. So basically, he has the kunai and he throws kunai that are marked with the Flying Thunder God all around his enemy. He then teleports to them and he uses shadow clones when he's doing it, which also allows him to combine the Rasengan and other jutsu with the shadow clones as he's teleporting to all these different kunai. The other thing you can take away from this jutsu is the fact that it's going to allow Minato to attack from all angles and every blind side of the enemy, and you can obviously guess that Minato at some point is also combining the Flying Thunder God jutsu with the Rasengan. So when you get to this next jutsu, it's another jutsu that Minato created and it has a super long name just like the last one. So this one's called the Flying Thunder God Reciprocal Round Robin Jutsu. So when it comes comes to this jutsu, you need 2 people who can use the Flying Thunder God, so obviously you're gonna need a shadow clone if you're not fighting along somebody else who knows the jutsu. So when you have somebody that has the mark of the other person's seal, this allows them to switch their positions at any given point in a battle. So when you see how Minato and Tobirama use this jutsu, where you had Minato who was struck by an attack, he then switched places with Tobirama in order to land the attack on his target. So when you get to this last jutsu, you have the Flying Thunder God Slash, which is basically Tobirama's sneaky way of fighting. And when you go back and you look at the Naruto franchise, this is the jutsu that Tobirama used in order to kill Izuna, which it should be worth noting this is, while it isn't as flashy as some of the stuff Minato's done, this is a jutsu that did allow Tobirama to actually kill Izuna, which does show that for the most part, in most cases, this is a jutsu that the Sharingan's not going to be able to keep up with. What this jutsu does is that it combines space-time ninjutsu with the Flying Thunder God, and it takes that sealing formula and it puts it on the actual sword. And so what Tobirama does is he throws other kunai in order to distract, and he then uses the jutsu to either teleport himself to the sword, or he teleports himself in the sword in order to slash the enemy and catch them in a blind spot in order to take them down. However, that's gonna be it for this video today, guys. Let me know what jutsu you guys want me to cover in the future, and if I like the topic enough, I'll make sure to cover it. And if there's multiple variations of it, then I'll make a video going over all the different variations of that jutsu as well. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until then. Have an awesome day, guys.